In Mississauga, head to the polls tomorrow in a federal by-election seen by many as the first test for Canada's new Conservative leader.
Do you know that there's a by-election tomorrow?
No, I do not.
I don't think the average person would know because it's not publicized as much, and I think there should be better coverage.
A test for the Tories perhaps, but one of the biggest challenges for all candidates could be voter turnout. And
right now, I can't say if it was targeted or if it's random.
A 17-year-old boy is dead and another teen boy has serious injuries after a shooting outside a Toronto apartment building.
3, 2, have a great race, Santas!
A festive run in Hamilton, all for a good cause.
This is CBC Late Night News.
Hello, thanks for joining us. It's being billed as the first big test for Canada's new Conservative leader. Voters in Mississauga will head to the polls tomorrow in a federal by-election. But as Meg Roberts shows us, one of the biggest challenges for all candidates could be getting people to the ballot box.
Do you know that there's a by-election tomorrow?
No, I do not.
I don't think the average person would know because it's not publicized as much, and I think there should be better coverage.
Despite some surprise, there's a federal election in Mississauga Lakeshore tomorrow. Former Liberal MP Sven Spangaman resigned earlier this year to take a job at the United Nations. The Liberals hope he's replaced by former Ontario Liberal Finance Minister Charles Sousa. He's represented a provincial riding in Mississauga for more than a decade.
I encourage everyone to please, who can, get out and vote and enable your voices to be heard. The ballot is gummed up with a lot of different names, none of whom live in Mississauga Lakeshore. I live here. I'll fight for you. I want to make certain that the people of my community are well represented.
You know what? I 100% believe they're making a difference. I know they're making a difference.
Sousa is up against Ron Chinzer, a Peel Regional police officer. That's a clip of Chinzer speaking to CBC Toronto in 2019. He didn't respond to multiple requests to do an interview with CBC News prior to tomorrow's election. On election eve, some residents are thinking about which candidates will prioritize their concerns.
I'd like to keep it safe. There's a lot of violence and stuff going on right now, so I'd like to make sure it's a safe area.
The most important is just like the cost of living, because it's gone up way too much, and it needs to be addressed clearly.
With the rise of immigration, there isn't enough housing, and that's a federal issue that needs to be addressed.
The district has largely been represented by Liberals, except for 2011 to 2015, when the Conservatives held it under former Prime Minister Stephen Harper. This will be Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre's first election since he was named the party leader. No matter who is elected, it will not change the balance of power in Parliament, where the Liberals hold a minority of seats.
There will be 40 names on the ballot tomorrow. 36 of those candidates are running as independents. Political analysts are expecting it to be a close race. Meg Roberts, CBC News, Mississauga.
In other news tonight, a 17-year-old boy is dead and another teen boy has serious injuries after a shooting outside of a Toronto apartment building.
When officers arrived on scene, they located one male suffering from obviously signs of gunshots. The deceased was pronounced on scene.
It happened near Victoria Park in Danforth after 7 last night. Police say the victim is 17-year-old David Petrovic from Toronto. Another 16-year-old boy was also shot. He's in hospital with serious injuries. So far, there's no suspect description to tell you about, only that they took off in a vehicle. Police are asking anyone who may have dashcam video to get in touch. The province has reached a tentative deal with the Ontario Council of Education Workers after days of negotiations. The OCEW is made up of 6 unions and represents thousands of workers across the province at public and Catholic school boards. It says a tentative deal will go to members for ratification in the coming weeks. Now, terms of that new contract are not yet public. Some relief for people struggling to make rent. Starting tomorrow, applications open for the Canada Housing Benefit. Delia Ashry has more now on how it works and talks with experts and advocates who say this will offer some help, but there's much more work to do.
It's no secret the cost of living in Ontario has gone up, making it especially challenging for those with low incomes, from food prices going up to rent. And the Prime Minister says he has a plan.
The federal government will also provide a one-time $500 top-up to the Canada Housing Benefit Program.
To qualify for the program, renting families have to have a net income of less than $35,000, and individuals have to make less than $20,000. According to rentals.ca, the average October rent price across the country has gone up by almost 12%. And while some say this is a step in the right direction, for struggling students, it's just not enough.
A lot of students are finding it's kind of a drop in the bucket, you know.
Riaz Nandan is the treasurer for the Canadian Federation of Students. He says with the cost of living and tuition, that can add up to a total of $10,000 a month. Nandan says with capacity limits at dorms, it's forcing some students to move off campus.
Off campus, where a lot of renters may simply make ends meet for students and try to house as many as they can, right? But oftentimes those may not be up to code or up to standard or safe.
According to the government's website, Canadians who qualify will have to provide their address, cost of rent, their landlord's contact information, and access to their CRA account.
The government is asking for this information from a risk aversion perspective, but the challenge is for many people who live in deeply affordable housing units, their landlords may not be willing to provide, may not be willing to have that information shared with the CRA.
Some students may run into issues with that in terms of the consent bid and access to information.
While most people agree the one-time top-up is better than nothing, some say more needs to be done.
We need to build more affordable supply, but we need to be really cautious that and conscientious that it's affordable housing supply. We need better regulations around rent.
The investment bid is the biggest part of all, right? We need to see actual resources and money be put into structures so that students don't have to have these high costs.
And for those that want to apply, the portal will be open until March 31st. Dahlia Ashry, CBC News, Toronto.
Southern Ontario just saw its first big blast of snow in a few weeks. It's prompting OPP to remind people about driving safely on icy or snow-packed roads, especially as you put on your snow tires.
We probably had close to 200 wheel separations just in the GTA alone. About 1/3 of those are coming off of commercial transport trucks or large vehicles, and the other 2/3 are coming off of passenger vehicles or small light-duty vehicles.
The OPP launching its Check Your Nuts campaign. They say this is the time of year we most often see accidents involving unsecured tires flying off of cars. The messaging comes just hours after a deadly crash on Highway 401 in Bayview, unrelated to the campaign. A wrong-way driver collided with an SUV, killing both drivers. OPP are asking witnesses who may have dash cam video to contact them. Yeah, Sophia, you were telling us about the weather conditions on the way, and it can be downright scary out there when you're driving.
Yeah, first big return to winter driving, and with all those reminders to extra caution on the roadways, pack that extra patience and leave that extra room and time, and of course winter tires and all of that upkeep that goes along with it. We had that heavy snowfall come down in the morning, that big return to winter weather around the GTA. We also had that layer of freezing drizzle that came around the morning, adding that extra slick wintry layer that helped to slow down the commute. You picked up about 5 centimeters in the London Hamilton area, a little bit more up to Orillia and Gravenhurst and even into the Oshawa area, but this event has really wrapped up now. A few stray flurries flying around the GTA, but not much of that is making it down to the surface layer. This low pressure system has been replaced with a really cold north wind instead. We have struggled to get above the freezing mark all day today. It is still downright chilly, and you'll have more of the same for Monday morning. -2, feeling like -7 for a cold walk to the bus stop or a cool start off to work or school for Monday for many of you. And that will be the name of the game for the first half of this upcoming work week. We'll talk though in the long range about how you trade off the cold for brilliant bluebird skies, which are rare in December before the next snowmaker comes at the end of this upcoming work week. Shannon?
Okay, we look forward to the blue sky. Thanks, Sophia.
Before the next snowfall, no problem.
A Libyan man accused in the Lockerbie bombing of 1988 is in U.S. custody tonight. The news coming just days ahead of the disaster's 34th anniversary, an hour after leaving London for New York on December 21st, 1988. Pan Am Flight 103 exploded over Lockerbie, Scotland. All 259 people aboard died. Falling wreckage killed 11 people on the ground. 2 years ago, the U.S. charged a suspected bomb maker, Abu Ajila Masood. He is now said to be in U.S. custody. Only one person has ever been convicted. Protecting the Earth's biodiversity is taking center stage in Montreal at a gathering of subnational governments happening alongside COP15. Kwabena Odoru shows us some of the steps cities are taking and what more environmentalists want to see.
In Saint-Anne-de-Bellevue, Quebec, birds are treated like residents.
We are like the bird capital of the province of Quebec.
It's one of just 14 Canadian cities and the only one in Quebec to be named a bird-friendly city at the COP15 Biodiversity Conference. It implemented a dark skies bylaw to help birds migrate at night.
I'm grateful to be part of a future where we can imagine cities to be both for birds and wildlife and for people, and for the benefits for the youth to come.
11 local environmental groups are using COP15 as an opportunity to push for more to be done to protect biodiversity in urban areas. One of their proposals is building more green infrastructures like this one on top of buildings to help give food and shelter to animals and insects.
During summer, it contains rainwater, so we don't even put rain into sewers because the earth here just absorbs it.
Montreal Mayor Valérie Plante is encouraging her municipal counterparts to sign the Montreal Pledge. 15 steps meant to preserve biodiversity in urban areas. It includes increasing protected green space, reducing pesticide use, and working to eliminate plastic waste.
It is quite ambitious because it is in the south. It is in areas like Montreal where we have the most pressure to build. And for us, it cannot be in opposition.
Plante says cities are at the forefront of biodiversity decline and have a responsibility to act to halt it. But she did acknowledge only about 22% of the Greater Montreal area is currently protected. In Montreal, more trees will be planted and green spaces will be acquired to create a network of metropolitan parks.
You know, have a better planet, a better city, having more green spaces for today, but also for the future.
As the climate change crisis continues to worsen, local environmental groups are calling for these measures to be implemented sooner rather than later. Kwabena Odoru, CBC News, Montreal.
50 years since an astronaut last walked on the moon, tonight NASA is one giant leap closer to making it happen again. The Artemis 1 Orion spacecraft splashed down off California's coast earlier today. Lisa Shing has more on the test mission and what happens next.
3 good main chutes for Orion.
Under 3 billowing parachutes, the Orion spacecraft wrapped up its journey to the moon and back.
Splashdown.
The re-entry in the Pacific off the coast of Mexico, the most precarious part of the voyage.
Orion, back on Earth.
And it all went according to plan.
This mission was just, flawless.
An electric result for the first of what will be several missions in the next generation of space exploration.
Right now, this tells us that this spacecraft has the outer bones and everything that it needs. So now we are going to go and finish outfitting it so that we can put humans on board on Artemis 2.
This flight that looped the moon, launching 25 days ago, is part of Artemis, Apollo's successor program aimed at bringing astronauts back there.
Oh man, go slow.
It ended on the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 17 moon landing.
Okay, copy that, Jack.
The last time humans walked on its surface. But Artemis isn't just a U.S. program. There's international collaboration. While dummies were used this time, a Canadian will be one of 4 astronauts on board for Phase 2. Jeremy Hansen is in the running.
I do kind of think about what would that be like? What would I be feeling right now if I was sitting in that capsule? So it's very personal for me.
Thousands will gather in Florida to watch our ship get smaller and smaller.
Artemis marks a major turning point for NASA, redirecting its focus back to deep space.
Previously, it was about just getting there and getting back, but now it's about humanity moving out into the solar system.
Scientists say that will help them learn about Earth.
So we're missing like 500 million years of Earth's history at a really critical time when actually life was starting here on Earth. And so that record is preserved on the moon.
On the next flyby, astronauts could board a capsule much like this one as early as 2024, followed by the program's first lunar landing a few years after that. The hope is to establish a base there, a launching pad to eventually reach Mars and beyond. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
This little light of mine, sing.
A touching memorial for a little girl who died far too soon. A concert was put on in Toronto last night for Michelle Nwabu-Oku. She died in a tragic accident this summer after being struck and killed by a GO train. She was chasing a butterfly. Michelle would have turned 5 years old yesterday. Her dad's starting a foundation in her honor called the Butterfly Project.
My wife, that's the mother of Michelle, she's been longing for this. Just like Michelle really longed for our 50th birthday. So it means more than $1 million to me.
And it's to be a part of her 5th birthday party. There's no higher honor. You know, Walk of Fame, no Grammy, no Juno, no MMVA. It's like to know that this young, amazing soul had a vision. At 4 years old, she's like, you know what, for 5, I'm going big. And I'm so happy that her family decided to fulfill her dream.
More than 1,400 people gathering at the concert last night. Her father planned the show in North York because he had always promised Michelle an elaborate 5th birthday celebration. He wants to start planning future events in the new year with the hopes of an annual event in July to mark the anniversary of her death. Toronto is remembering a special anniversary this week. Just a little over 10 years ago now, Darwin the monkey stole the hearts of Toronto and the whole world. He was found roaming around an IKEA parking lot in North York and eventually given to an animal sanctuary east of the city. Well, we are happy to report Darwin is happy and healthy.
Over the years, he has learned that he is a monkey because he's surrounded by other monkeys at the sanctuary and has the ability to groom and be groomed by other monkeys, which as a social being, that is incredibly important for them.
This is Darwin today, dubbed the IKEA monkey. Darwin, a Japanese macaque, escaped his then owner's car walking through that parking lot of IKEA in North York. You remember that photo. Well, these monkeys were not legal to have as pets, so Darwin, the very fashionable little guy, was taken away. Liepa says, well, Darwin's getting his storybook ending. Many animals brought here illegally are not. Today was a bright and snowy day, making the perfect setting for the annual Santa Run in Hamilton. Hundreds of our jolly friends were pounding the pavement to tackle food insecurity in the area. Check it out.
3, 2, have a great race, Santas! Have a good one!
Well, today we are having our 10th annual Santa race here at the Royal Hamilton Yacht Club. We had almost 700 people enter the race, so all the Santas are trickling in. It's snowing a little bit, but it's great and festive. Well, we do it for fun, for bringing people together, for celebrating, for running and training and trying to be healthy. And we also do it for our charities. And this year we have chosen Hamilton Food Share because the need is very great in Hamilton.
Let's go. Need to cross the timing map.
This is a beautiful day for the Santa 5K. We are raising food and funds for Hamilton Food Share and people experiencing food insecurity in the cities. We typically serve about 13,000 people every month. 40% of those are children. During the month of December, we're actually expecting to see about 30,000 people from 10,000 households to reach out to us for food, vital food support. So, yeah, it's a huge, huge need, and the need is growing. But we're just grateful for our community who continue to support us, and they're just awesome.
All right, come on, folks.
How was it for you?
Good. All you need is just to keep up the steady pace, and then you do well.
Nice. How does it feel to be the winner?
Awesome.
When
they finish here, they get an absolutely gorgeous medal, which has snowflakes in it. So it's a super festive, fun day.
Well, Santa was so busy today, not just in Hamilton, but also in Toronto. Here he is in Black Creek Pioneer Village, courtesy of our friend Sophia. The Jolly Man in Red getting a visit in with the kids. Pioneer Village's Santa in the Village is on every weekend until Christmas. Sophia, you've been having so many adventures around town.
Yep, we are on the search for the most epic Santa visits around the GTA, and of course, in true weather fashion, I did it on a day when there were winter weather advisories out.
So
it was idyllic, though.
Yeah, I was going to say Pioneer Village looks incredible.
Yeah, it was amazing being transported to Christmas of years past, Christmas of yesteryear, and honoring so much of Toronto's heritage. And it was actually my first time there, so it was awesome seeing all the Christmas traditions of years past. And of course, seeing Santa himself and doing it with all that snow, heavy snow falling at the time, was wonderful as well. Cold will be replaced. We'll be replacing all of that snow, but we'll also have something a little different, not the snow, but some brilliant bluebird skies for Monday and for Tuesday. Shannon will be feeling around -3, -4 with that wind, but it's actually pretty rare to have this many days in a row of straight sunshine this time in December because of that low sun angle. So enjoy it while you can, because can you spot the difference between the first half of the week and the second half of the week? Yes, there's that sunshine. And this, courtesy of a Colorado low, could either be an icy, wintry mix or a ton of snowfall. It's part and parcel of this big Colorado low that's brewing south of the border as we speak, will impact up to 60 million Americans, multi-day blizzard-like conditions. And for us, when it comes into our neck of the woods, what will win out? That cold air supply from the north or that surge of warm air from the south? If it's the warm air that wins out, we'll be locked in a battleground of a wintry, icy mix. But if it's the cold air that we've got more of at the ground level, we could have a significant swath of snow for much of southern Ontario. So this is a Thursday, Friday, and into next weekend story. So we'll have lots to talk about next weekend. But until then, enjoy the brilliant bluebird skies, Shannon, perfect for outdoor skating and any other Santa visits if you're checking out any of the other places to see the big man in red around the city.
Yes, Casa Loma, how was that?
Oh, it was amazing. A literal Christmas wonderland. Inside the castle, ice rinks, Christmas trees outside, over 1 million lights, and of course, a magical visit with Santa as well.
Okay, you're gonna have to do a top 5 list for us. We'll be keeping tabs on your IG.
Maybe top 10.
Okay,
if Santa
yeah,
will have me that many times.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next weekend. Bye-bye. And we're going to show you some video that Sophia took for us from Casa Loma. It looks just totally beautiful, as she was saying, 1 million lights. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next weekend.